Take a look.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, leave me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post, anywhere you can get in contact with me, man. You already know the vibes. And y'all gotta excuse me, man. Y'all gotta excuse me while I mark out, while I fan out a little bit, man. This episode of SmackDown, especially the main event segment. The main event segment involving the Bloodline featuring The Rock took me down a long trip down memory lane. It took me back down to when I first started watching wrestling. And I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the main event segment because, let me tell you. So throughout the whole show, we saw the Bloodline show up, we saw The Rock show up, we saw, champagne and bottled of service being brought to the Bloodline locker room. You even saw Paul Heyman talking to Grayson Waller, who's going to be hosting the Grayson Waller Effect at the Elimination Chamber in Australia, featuring Seth freaking Rollins and Cody Rhodes. So this all led us to our main event segment. First, you had the Bloodline come out, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Solo, and Paul Heyman. They came out, and Roman Reigns gets Utah to acknowledge him, and then he proceeds to tell them that they're all stupid, that they're all idiots, because they cheer for Cody, and Cody ruined everything. He ruined the main event of WrestleMania. He just ruined everything that the Bloodline had planned for the people, for the millions and millions, for the acknowledgers of the tribal chief. And he said that tonight will be the first night that we can announce The Rock as a member of the Bloodline. And this leads us to the introduction of The Rock. The Rock's music hits, and we're waiting for him to come out. And when he comes out, he came out looking like old school Rock. I'm not talking about Hollywood Rock. I'm not talking about tracksuit Rock. I'm not talking about t-shirt and some jeans and some black Timberlands Rock. I'm talking about The Rock I grew up with. I'm talking about Versace shirt Rock. I'm talking about church pants Rock. I'm talking about dress shoes Rock. The only thing that was missing was this little flat top with the sideburns. But he's bald now, but it is what it is. But he came out more or less looking like old school Rock, looking like 1998 Rock, like 1999 Rock, 2000 Rock, the Rock I grew up with, the Rock that got me into wrestling. I've told this story before, but if you're new, I'm gonna tell it to you again. I watch wrestling like off and on, but the thing that really got me hooked on wrestling was when The Rock cut that promo when he first joined up with the corporation. He came out, he called everyone trailer park trash. The people were booing him, they were saying Rocky sucks. And I'm like, yo, this guy's awesome. He's the coolest man ever. And since that day in 1998, The Rock has been my all-time favorite wrestler, and that still holds true to this day. That's why this moment, seeing The Rock come out dressed the way he was dressed, addressing the people the way he addressed the people, it really brought back so many great memories. It really just, reminded me of why I love wrestling so much. So The Rock comes out. He says that Utah broke the attendance record. They broke records, and they also broke records for being the biggest group of trailer park tracks The Rock has ever seen. He said he was going to slap the herpes off some fat dude's lip. He said that they all had like 600 inbred cousins. I'm like, yes. This is my Rock. This is my Rock right here. And then he addresses Cody Rhodes. He addresses the fans of Cody Rhodes. He addresses the people that are starting the whole We Want Cody movement. And he said that The Rock and Roman Reigns had the potential to be the greatest WrestleMania main event ever. And the people ruined it. They started going for Cody. They started chanting We Want Cody. And they all ruined it. And he said that Cody is a loser. He even burned down Cody's story. He addressed the fact that Cody lost to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania last year. And he said instead of taking it on the chin, taking his loss like a man, he's acting like a little whiny, entitled bitch. He said that you didn't see the San Francisco 49ers acting like this. You didn't see the Utah Jazz acting like this when they got beat by Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, which the people of Utah did not like at all, but it's true. Michael Jordan cooked y'all, you know it's true. And The Rock also said that as long as The Rock is breathing, as long as The Rock has any any life in him, he's gonna stop Cody from finishing his story. And then he closes it out with saying, if you smell what the Bloodline is cooking and you see The Rock standing with Roman Reigns and Solo and Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman throwing up the ones, the Bloodline is now stronger than ever. They lost Jay, but they gained The Rock. And somebody on Twitter compared this to Thanos and Darkseid teaming up. They're just OP right now. They're unstoppable. As if it wasn't hard enough for, Cody to defeat the Bloodline and Roman Reigns. Now you add The Rock on top of that. He really might have to assemble the Avengers for real. Seth Rollins is not enough. You got to call up Captain America and Iron Man, Deadpool, Spider-Man. Call everybody. Call the Justice League. Call whoever you can, because you cannot beat The Rock by yourself, bro. But yeah, man, this is just building up more hype for the main event of WrestleMania. Cody finishing the story. And a lot of people are speculating, myself included, are speculating it's going to be the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and The Rock taking on Cody and Seth Rollins night one at WrestleMania. So I'll be all for that. A lot of people were saying that night one should be in Rock and Roman or Cody versus Roman, and I wasn't feeling that at all. But this makes more sense. The Bloodline taking on Seth and Cody. So I'm all here for it, man. As for the rest of SmackDown, man, we had a whole bunch of Elimination Chamber qualifier matches. We had Kevin Owens taking on Dominic Mysterio. And I gotta say this, man, it's really cool to see how much Dominic Mysterio has grown and improved over the years. Now, when Dominic Mysterio first started wrestling for real with his dad, it was like, all right, this is cool, but I don't really see too much with him. But then he joined up with the Judgment Day. He turned heel, and you just started seeing more of his personality come out. And I feel like him joining up with the Judgment Day was possibly the best thing that could ever happen to him, because Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio's baby boy, is one of the biggest heels in WWE right now, man. Whoever would have thought that? I wouldn't think that. And there was a small part of me that thought that maybe Dominic can pull out the win over Kevin Owens. However, that wasn't the case, because you had R-Truth come out, who I don't know if he still thinks he's with the Judgment Day. I know he's a little touched. I know he's a little confused, because he thought Kevin Owens was The Miz. So Kevin Owens actually ended up getting the win over Dominic Mysterio, so he's advancing to the Elimination Chamber. And speaking of The Miz, you had the final qualifying match between The Miz and Logan Paul, making his official SmackDown in-ring debut. And this was a good match, man. I can't even lie to you. Logan Paul is good. He's good. He's wrestling. He's showing up more on SmackDown. He's showing up more on television, so that's a good thing. So with that, you get a little in-ring time on the television. And him and The Miz actually had a pretty good match. Logan Paul ended up getting the win. So he is going to be the final participant. So now it's going to be Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, and LA Knight. And speaking of LA Knight, man, him and Drew McIntyre had a little face-to-face in the backstage area. And there was even one point where LA Knight called Drew McIntyre an old man. And I'm like, Los Angeles, I fucks with you, but you're a little bit older than Drew McIntyre, my boy. And man, I'm not trying to be ageist. It is what it is. Them's the facts. But next week, Drew McIntyre and LA Knight are going to wrestle, and that should be a fun match. And also, speaking of next week, we had Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne talking about their upcoming tag team match against the Judgment Day at Elimination Chamber. And Dominic pulled up, he's like, yo, y'all ain't beating no Judgment Day. Y'all can't beat any form of the Judgment Day. So Bate and Dunne laid out the challenge for Dominic and JD McDonagh. So that's going to happen next week as well. But back to the whole Elimination Chamber qualifier matches for the women. Now we had Zelina Vega taking on Tiffany Stratton. And Tiffany Stratton is a star. I've noticed that since NXT. It's really cool to see how much she's grown from the first time I've seen her on NXT to where she is now. And, she's going to continue to grow and improve as the days and the weeks and the months and years continue to, continue. And Zelina Vega, she's awesome. But she wasn't awesome enough to defeat Tiffany Stratton. You even had interference from Legado del Fantasma. You had Santos Escobar and Elektra Lopez, they were outside watching the match. You even had the LWO come back out to show support to Zelina Vega. But Tiffany Stratton ended up getting the win with the prettiest moonsault ever. And then even later in the show, you had Tiffany Stratton talking trash to Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan, who were in the match as well. But Jade Cargill, she was in the back. She was talking business with Nick Aldis, and she's like, she wasn't feeling that. She wasn't feeling the fact that she was interrupted by Tiffany Stratton. She's trying to conduct big business, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, about her contract, about where she's possibly going to sign, whether she's going to sign with Raw or SmackDown. So there's that. Final qualifying match for this episode of SmackDown was between Naomi and Alba Fire. Now, originally this was supposed to be Shotzi, but she was injured throughout the week. I think she was wrestling on NXT and she got injured, so hopefully this injury isn't too bad. Hopefully she's not out too long. Hopefully she has a speedy recovery. Prayers up for Shotzi. But like I said, taking Shotzi's place was Alba Fire. And Naomi got a new theme. It kind of sounded like a remix of her Impact theme, so that was pretty cool. And it was even her rapping over it. I'm like, all right, Naomi, very talented chocolate queen right there. But Naomi ended up getting the win, and she is officially in the Elimination Chamber match for the women. So I believe on this upcoming week's episode of Raw, there's going to be a battle royale to see who gets the final spot. And a lot of people were speculating that Jade Cargill might get into the final spot. Internet sources were saying that, Jade Cargill got pulled from that. So I don't know. I would personally like to see Jade Cargill in. But if she's not, I understand it. So it is what it is. AJ Styles and the OC have beef. That's it. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. You had the Authors of Pain returning to SmackDown. They had a squash match against Big Body Hobby and some other dude. I don't really know who the other guy was. But it was a squash match. The Authors of Pain won. And next week, they're going to fight the Street Profits. So, this little feud between the Final Testament and the Street Profits is continuing. So, I ain't too mad at that. Another thing I ain't mad at is the fact they had Damage Control, the new and improved Damage Control with Asuka, Io Sky, and Kairi. They're talking trash about Bayley, and they're also talking trash about Dakota Kai because Asuka said, listen, we didn't forget about you, Dakota, because you betrayed us. We're coming for you. So now Dakota's nervous. She's trying to ask Bayley for help. She's like, hey, man, I don't know what to do. They're going to come after me next. And Bayley is like, listen, I don't know if you're in on this or what. I don't know if you're still in cahoots with these ladies. So I can't trust you. So Bayley is being smart about this. So good for you, Bayley. And the final thing I got to talk about. Speaking of signings, speaking of Nick Aldis making big business moves, big money moves, big Bron Breakker moves, Bron Breakker, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, is officially a member of the SmackDown roster. You love to see it, man. I've been wanting to see Bron Breakker on the main roster for the longest time. So many of other people have been wanting the same thing, and it's official, man. He's finally on the main roster. He's finally on SmackDown. So good for Bron Breakker. I expect nothing but great things for him. And what he's been doing with Baron Corbin and the Wolf Dogs, hilarious stuff. He's over. The people fucks with him. I fucks with him. You fucks with him too. Shout out to Bron Breakker. But with that being said, guys, that was this week's episode of SmackDown. Heel Rock is back. Corporate Rock, Tribal Chief, High Chief, whatever the hell he's going by. He's a member of the Bloodline now. What do you guys think of these breaking developments? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Peace. I'm out. If you smell what the Bloodline is cooking, peace.